Hey folks, King's Drummer here, and I'm here to answer a thread. It was by Vinylover95, his fifth thread, and he asked three really cool questions, so I'm going to go ahead and tackle and answer these real fast. His first question was, show your favorite M record in your collection. So basically, it was either if I arranged by alphabetical order or genre or whatever. Best record by a band that starts with the letter M. And my collection still isn't quite that big. It's grown over the last couple of months, but surprisingly, not that many M records. But the one I did pick is a record in a band I love very much, and it's perfect for this question because the name of the band starts with an M, and so does so does the name of the album. So it's perfect. And this band is called Marillion. And this record is called Misplaced Childhood. And this is number one, I love the cover art. I love this picture. Great picture. But I also love this band and the music on this album. Just fantastic. A lot of people put Marillion under the classification of a progressive rock band. I guess you can say they are that. I just see them as a band of really talented songwriters that make some amazing music, and I guess you can call it prog if you have to label it towards something. But if you're just a lover of great music, you'll really like them. Not a band that's very big in America, mostly Europe. So I've only been a fan of this band for the past 5-6 years or so. And since I've been a fan, I don't think they've toured America yet. So I really hope they come back to America so I can get the live experience from this band, because they make some amazing music. And this record right here is fantastic. Side one is really strong. The closest thing to a radio single on here was a song called Kaylee, which segues way into a really beautiful ballad called Lavender. And what does it for those two songs, in my opinion, is number one, they got a great guitar player in this band by the name of Steve Rothery. The tones he gets on this record is amazing. It's a beautiful guitar tones. I mean, yeah, he can crank the distortion as well, like any other rock guitarist can, but some beautiful, clean, clear echo tones to accompany the keyboard arrangements and the vocals, and to deliver and bring out the true emotions in these songs that they have. Because side one, after the first two songs I mentioned, Kaylee and Lavender, it goes into a suite, like a 4 to 5 song suite, and it's basically just known as the Bittersweet, and it's basically a short progressive type of thing. A concept thing, I meant to say, and just fantastic. I never really quite got the concept side of it because I'm just too obsessed with the band and the individual musicians. And they have the drummer in this band is Ian Mosley, fantastic drummer. I believe he was the drummer on one of Steve Hackett's first solo albums, either his first one or Please Don't Touch. He was the drummer on either one of those, his first album or Please Don't Touch. Drummer on one of those two records. The guy is a fantastic drummer. This album was released in 1985, and it features the original lead singer, who went by the name of Fish. He is no longer in the band. He was replaced by their current singer, which I believe his name is Hogarth, Steve Hogarth. Not really sure his first name, but I know his last name is Hogarth. And a great vocalist as well, but Fish really brought some raw emotion to his singing and his lyrics. One of the songs is actually a poem set to real cinematic keyboard sounds. It almost sounds like something out of a film, and he does a spoken word poem which is really, really breathtaking. And I would say that they remind me a lot of U2. I'm not saying their music, but as far as the raw emotion that they put into the words, into the music, really reminds me of U2. And it's a great album. If you ever get a chance to sample this on YouTube, You won't be disappointed. Their records are fantastic. Their CDs are amazing. They have some live videos as well. Some great live performances. So Marillion, Misplaced Childhood is my favorite M album. Okay, second question he at Vinylover95 will ask is, what do you do whilst listening to your records? And lately that's been sleeping. And that makes me sound so old, but the last week and a half to 2 weeks, I've been coming home from work, pour myself a cold drink, kick off my shoes, change into some fresh clothes, pick a record, turn it on, put it on the turntable, spin it, put on some headphones, lie down in bed, and just cut myself off from the real world and just sort of de-stress and just relax and listen to them and just throw myself into the music. And I swear by the end, towards the end of the first song, usually out like a light. And then I wake up and like side one is already over, and for all I know it's probably been over for the last 5-10 minutes and I'm barely waking up. So lately I've been doing that. But if I'm not sleeping during my music, if I'm buying a record for the first time, while I'm listening to it, I'll get into the album artwork while I'm listening to music, or if it's a gatefold or it has an insert with printed lyrics like this, while I'm listening to music, I'll follow word by word of the lyrics. I'll read whatever credits or liner notes are printed on the inside jacket, and just get as much information out of the record as I can. That's one of my favorite things to do with albums, especially when you listen to something the first time. Get into the artwork. Read if there's any liner notes, just to get as much out of that record as you possibly can, but besides just the music, and it usually makes it more enjoyable. If it's a record I've listened to many times and I'm real familiar with it, then it's something I have on the background while I'm screwing around online or reading the newspaper, reading a magazine or something like that. So those are the three things I usually do while I'm listening to my records. Okay, and the last and final question. A record I've seen and often ignored and then bought out of curiosity. And for the record I picked for that dates back all the way to the mid-'80s. This is when I bought this record probably when I was 17 years old in high school. I was a junior in high school, and back then I was just learning how to play the drums. And a teenager growing up in the 80s, my favorite drummer at the time was Phil Collins. I've said it in past videos, the man is an amazing drummer. If you go back to the Genesis records from the 70s, if you listen to the Brand X records, he has done some session work with Tears for Fears, Robert Plant, Brian Eno, long list of people, and also Eric Clapton even produced 2 of his records. And the guy is a fantastic drummer, just fantastic. And when I started getting into his music, his solo albums, I really enjoyed the drumming on it, and then I slowly started listening to current Genesis records at the time. And MTV broadcast one of their concerts from 1984. It was a celebration of them releasing, the band was about to release the album Invisible Touch. They showed one of their concerts from 1984. This is back in the good old days when MTV played music and played concert videos on television. And they played, it was the Mama Tour from 1984, and I was blown away by it, and especially at the end they did the In the Cage medley, which is a lot of their medley of their songs from the 70s. And that caused me to do a little bit of research. There was no internet back then, so I actually had to go to a record store and look at the backs of all the old 70s records, like, okay, there's In the Cage, it's on an album called Lamb Lays on Broadway, blah, 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 blah. When I finally pieced together all the songs that were in this big medley from 1984, I realized a lot of them were on an album, on a live album that I wasn't that familiar with yet. And that live album was Seconds Out. And you know, I'm a teenager, so you know, I don't think I was working quite yet. I didn't have my first job yet, so basically I'm buying records off of an allowance. And this was a double record in the mid '80s, and this is the original record I bought. You can see all the wear I have here and the ring wear. This is the actual record I bought in the '80s. I've since then replaced it and retired this. I don't listen to this anymore. I listen to my newer copy of it. So when I went to the record store to buy this, I'm buying it new because there were no used record stores in my area in the mid '80s. So if you're going to buy a record, you're buying it brand spanking new. And I believe because this was a double record, it probably was anywhere between $15, $18, which to me, to a teenager who's not really working yet, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of allowance money. So I went and bought this Seconds Out record, not really knowing a lot of the music, because this is before Genesis had any hits. They were not a hit music, pop music band yet. So this is before they started having hits. So I look on here and I recognize Squonk, but I don't recognize Carpet Crawl. I don't know what the world that is. I recognize Afterglow because it was at the end of the medley. I don't know what Firth of Fifth was, and I don't know what I Know What I Like was. I didn't know what Supper Ready was, and yada yada yada. So you know, so when I spun this thing for the very first time, I was introduced to '70s prog Genesis, and I was blown away. I mean, first, you know, I'd go in the record store, I'd look at it like in the price tag would just intimidate the hell out of me. It's like, why would I spend so much on songs I don't know? But you know, I finally decided to buy it, and man, this thing blew my mind. Especially Supper's Ready. Probably my favorite all-time Genesis song, period. Supper's Ready was amazing, and every song on here just blew my mind. I quickly loved this record more than the current Genesis I was hearing at the time, which was, you know, Invisible Touch and Tonight, Tonight, Tonight. I mean, those were fine songs for the times, but this record was fantastic, and I finally got to see Genesis in '86, and they did the In the Cage medley, and a lot of these songs were on that medley, so very, very special record for me. It took me a while to buy this when I was younger, and I'm glad I did because this record blew me away. Anyway, that's it. That's about the best I can answer these questions. And I always try to make a short video, and I just won't shut up once I start talking about records. But anyway, that will do it for the answers to this thread, and I'll see you guys in the next video.